Hi, I'm Joy, a missionary on staff with Calvary Chapel Rosarito, and I want to welcome you to today's good news. Today we're going to be learning about the Beatitudes in Matthew chapter 5. Speaking of bees, what did one bee say to the other bee during summer? Swarm here, isn't it? Now, all joking aside, that's not the type of bee we're talking about in this chapter. We're going to be looking at the Beatitudes, and Beatitude means blessed or happy. Please read with me Matthew 5, verse 4. It says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." Now, here in this chapter, Matthew 5, Jesus is defining happiness in a new way, a way centered on our relationship to God. The promises that are contained in this chapter are promises for those who are citizens of God's kingdom. They are not for those who continue to remain alienated from God. And here in verse 4, it's talking about those who mourn. So, what type of mourning is this referring to? What is Jesus trying to teach here? There's three different options that it could be referring to. Option number one is those who are dealing with the sorrow and pains of losses in this life. Option number two is it's talking about being mournful over the condition of the world's fallen sinful state. And option number three is that it's referring to someone who is mournful about their own personal sinful condition. Now, the verses right before and after this both are referring to specific attitudes. And so, most likely, this verse is talking about someone being mournful over their own personal sinful condition. Now, this attitude or grief is not simply like a kid who gets told, "Now go say sorry to your sister," and they go over there and they're all sorry. No, it's not that. That type of attitude is called attrition, and that means that they're just sorry that they got caught and they're having to now deal with the consequences. But truly being sorry is an attitude of the heart. It's an attitude of being contrite. That's the kid who comes and is like, "I'm so sorry I hurt you. I didn't mean to do it." That is the heart that God is talking about here in this verse where we're mournful. And Psalms 51:17b reminds us that a broken and contrite heart God will not despise. Now, that type of mourning and sorrow is what the Bible calls godly sorrow. And in 2 Corinthians 7:10, it tells us that godly sorrow brings repentance that leads to salvation and leads to no regret. Instead, we are comforted because we are able to receive the forgiveness that Christ offers. Now, this comfort that God gives us doesn't just come from perceiving your own wretchedness, but rather it comes from perceiving Christ and what he has done for you and the forgiveness that he is offering to you. Now, most of the time, if we don't have this mournful attitude toward our sin, it's because we're not seeing the gravity of our sin for how wretched it truly is. And we're not seeing God in the high and position that he truly is and how great God truly is. In order to be free from the weight of the consequences of your sin today, you can receive God and his forgiveness. You can surrender your life to him. If you've never done that before, today can be the day that you choose to walk in forgiveness with God, that you accept his forgiveness and that you turn to him. Or maybe you've been walking with the Lord for a long time and you need to take this moment right now and do like it says in Psalm 139, verses 22 through 24, that you need to ask God to search your heart and to see if there's any way in you that's offensive. And if you do, you can surrender those things to Him and allow Him to lead you and guide you in His ways. And that is today's good news.